I'm Mick McCarthy.
And I'm Tony Pulis.
And welcome to The Managers. Is Arsenal's title bid collapsing?
Watching the game, Bournemouth just run all over them.
They look like it had a rest.
Arteta looked jaded. And you know as well as I do, as a manager, you take everything on.
Is this Spurs squad buckling under the pressure?
There's definitely a mentality problem in that football club, without a question of a doubt.
I hope the players that were crying on the weekend, I hope they weren't crocodile tears. Welcome back to the show. Don't forget you can email us on hello@themanagerspod.com, and for all the links you can head to themanagerspod.com. Right, Tone, lots to talk about, so let's get on with it. We're going to start with the Premier League title race. Surprise, surprise. Arsenal suffered a damaging 2-1 defeat to Bournemouth on Saturday, while Manchester City closed the gap to 6 points with a 3-0 win over Chelsea on Sunday. City, who have a game in hand, host Arsenal this Sunday. So, Tone, is Arsenal's title bid collapsing?
I think let's take the defeat against Bournemouth first. I think if you have a look at the fixtures, Bournemouth had 3 weeks off. And Arsenal have played 3 or 4 games, and massive games as well. They've been at Wembley in a cup final. Then they play in Europe. You know, they've had big games. And watching the game, I did watch the game. Watching the game, Bournemouth just run all over them. You know, they were full of energy. It looked like a team playing the first game of the season, not like the 31st game of the season against the team, Mick.
They looked like it had a rest, didn't they?
They looked as though they'd had and, you know, people will say, well, professional footballers have got to be this, they've got to be that. I'm telling you now, the difference between Arsenal looked laboured and they looked tired mentally as well.
I think the commentator said, they said they'd had 54 games.
I'm not concerned.
Arsenal have had 54 games as opposed to Bournemouth, who had some 30-some. I mean, it is a huge difference in terms of it.
But I think if you go back to record number of games, I think if you look at the Liverpool team that won all those trophies in the 80s, they were playing 60-odd games, Mick.
Yeah.
And they were still performing and winning games. I just think mentally, Bournemouth definitely physically had it over them. Arsenal looked a little bit jaded. Arteta looked jaded. And you know as well as I do, as a manager, you take everything on. You know, it's not just the team playing, it's everything around that surrounds it. And he looked tired as well. And
well, I think you and I can both confirm that he is jaded, that he is tired.
Yeah.
And probably can't wait to the end of the league. But obviously, he wants that. He wants to win it. That's the only way forward.
And then I'll go on to Man City against Chelsea. I thought first half, you could put the kettle on and have about 4 or 5 cups of tea because it was so lethargic. Is that the best way?
It was boring, Elton. I watched it.
Yeah. And then second half, they come out. They looked a different team. They played forward. You know, they play lots of passes, but when they're at their best, they're playing passes that go forward and they're getting it to their front four. The 2 wide players are really, really exciting. Cherky looks an unbelievable player.
Fabulous.
He looks a fabulous signing. And they've got people who open the door. Why the hell they spend so much time passing it between the 2 centre-halves and the goalkeeper, I will never, ever, ever understand that. Once they get the ball forward, once they're playing forward and they're on their front foot and they're running forward, Mick, they look a different team, and they murdered Chelsea second half.
Of course, we both do understand why they make all those passes, because they want to play through the lines and they want to suck them onto you, they make them come and press you so they can play through you. We both know and understand that. But I agree with you. You know, the keeper and the 2 centre-halves are having most of the ball, and yet the great players, like Cherky, he's amazing. I have to say, though, if he kept showing off, keeping the ball up and back heel like that,
he wouldn't be on the pitch very long,
Maybe not now, but certainly 20 years ago it would have been 30 years. Hold on,
40 years.
40 years ago.
40 years.
All right, leave it out. Leave it out. I agree with you. Arsenal looked jaded, and I think that's down to the games they've played, the pressure that they're under. Bournemouth played with freedom. They went and pressed man for man. And I thought, so let's not take it away from them, though. I thought they were brilliant.
Fantastic.
They were brilliant.
You know, we're going to get letters from the LMA soon about managers of the season, and that fella's got to come into it. What he's done, they've sold the 3 of their 4 best players last year, and they look no different, Mick. You know, they've brought the recruitment's absolutely fantastic, but they've looked no different. He's a quiet, unassuming person. But I tell you what, he deserves a hell of a lot of credit, Mick.
He does. I think while we're taking votes for manager of the season, though, I think Keith Andrews is going to get a mention in that as well.
Well,
for what he's done first year in charge.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with that. We spoke about the League Cup final defeat creating doubt in the minds of those Arsenal players and fans. They've since lost to Southampton and Bournemouth. What does Mikel Arteta do now? What do you reckon?
They're still in a great position. If you're starting the season now, Mick, and someone comes to you and says, there's the points difference with that many games left, you go, yeah, I'll take that all the time.
I thought he spoke well afterwards.
Yeah.
That this does happen, but almost an acceptance of it. And, whether that's for the TV and everybody else, but I doubt that. I think that's how he sees it.
Yeah.
And you don't just go straight through and win everything.
Yeah.
I personally still think they'll win it.
Yeah.
Despite the disappointments, I think they'll get back to it. Have Arsenal become too reliant on set pieces? Why wouldn't you if you're so successful at them? I personally think, I thought they could have changed it. Now, there might be people screaming, have you ever managed Arsenal? No, I haven't, but I've managed in the Premier League and you have.
Yeah.
And I thought, the keeper had more touches than anybody, kept putting it down to his feet. I thought, stick it up to Gyökeres, get up behind it, go and win the ball, put some crosses in the box. Stop Bournemouth doing what they were doing brilliantly, and that was going man for man and impressing them.
Well, the thing that you talked about the set plays, the thing that changed, I watched the Southampton game. I think they played 4 or 5 short corners in that game. And even on Saturday against Bournemouth, they played 1 or 2 short corners. I've not seen them do that all season. And why do it when you're having so much success getting the ball in from corner kicks? But going back to the point that you're saying, they might have to be a little bit more direct now. And again, get the ball up to the players who can play. Get the ball up. How long is Saka going to be out for? Do we know? He's a massive miss for them, without a question of a doubt. But they've still got players, I think, in their team up there who can cause anybody problems on their team.
I think it would cause people a shock to them if Gyökeres is up against the 2 centre halves and bashing them around a bit, and they're picking it up in the opponent's half and playing from there. Yeah. And if everybody's screaming, that's how we used to play, and it's a long ball game, get lost. You've got to adapt and change. If one thing's not working and you've just lost the games you have, you might just have to try something else.
Well, Pep did that at half time. It looked as though he'd got the team in and said, "Listen, we're playing football in the wrong areas
and playing in their half without a doubt." Yeah. So I don't think it's collapsing. I think that when you are going to win a championship, you're going to have setbacks.
Yeah.
I personally still think they'll win it. I don't think they're going to have all those sets. They'll win a game.
Yeah.
They might win a game right out of the blue where everybody's going, oh, they've all lost it. No, I don't think they will. I still think they'll win it.
You fancy them at City?
I do, because I think it's a different game now. They're not the fancied ones. Everything's on City.
Yeah.
And I think Arsenal has been proven through that 54 games that we've talked about. 48 of them or 50 of them have probably been all good performances and good results. They will go there, and I think they will play a completely different way.
It's going to be obviously a massive game, but it might not be the game that decides.
I hope they don't. I want City to win it.
Yeah.
But I still think that Arsenal, at some stage, you have that time where it's going wrong. You've had it, I've had it, and you get a result. When you get them all in, you have a chat. Listen, lads, this is where we are because we've been the best club in the league. Let's get back to that, to the basics, what we're doing. We'll see. I've been wrong before.
He'll earn his money over the next couple of weeks.
Will. So what do you reckon, Tony? If there's going to be any changes, certainly to Arsenal, I don't think Man City will change anything because they've been having the good results. And if Arsenal are going, what do you think? How do you think they'll set up? How do you think they'll play?
Well, I think the teams that hurt City most are the teams that get after them. But also teams that play set-ups. So you set it up and you get runners. I think if you look at Man City will press right up to the halfway line. All the space is behind them. And if you've got people with pace and you've got people who can handle the ball and get a pass off, then those spaces are the areas that you have to attack. So it wouldn't surprise me if they play that way, if Arsenal go there and play a lot more direct. They'll drop off and be solid as possible, or they'll press together as tightly as possible. But I just think if they're regaining possession in their own half, I think it's little setups and runners. get runners out wide off the two centre-halves, because they only play two at the back. They push their full-backs on. It's a massive pitch, mate. You imagine me and you playing centre-half in a massive pitch like that. Now. And getting two quick runners behind us. We'd be shouting those full-backs in like you couldn't believe it. Well, I just think if they do that, if they go there, if they're organised enough, not just out of possession, but in possession as well. And I think we forget that at times. I think it's important that, people out there understand that, managers and coaches do work in possession as well. And I think Arteta, it's just my thought, all the space will be behind City's back two players. And if they can get setups and they've got good enough players to do that under pressure, the next ball, I think, goes in behind.
I agree with you totally.
Stop agreeing with me, Mick.
Sorry, I apologise for that. Okay. Suddenly, the pressure as well, it's reversed a little bit now onto Manchester City, because the expectations there, when they were...
They're going to do
so
the treble
points
now.
Behind, I know. And then, everything's cushy now, everything's great, We're going to do it. It's suddenly, it just twists and it puts the pressure back on them. And we'll see how Manchester City play and they can adapt to that. They're not going to be as free and easy as they were against second half against Chelsea anyway. The first half, it was an awful game. It sets it up brilliantly. I'm loving it, by the way. Yeah. It's better than somebody winning it by 9 points.
Oh, yeah.
It's making it interesting.
Yeah.
And I still think that Arsenal have got to go back to what we've done over the last 54 games. Go through all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And you'll get out of it. I'm sure Mikel Arteta, I thought handled himself really well after the game. Yeah. He could have gone on there fuming and snarling and snorting and spitting. Yeah. And he didn't, and he kept his calm. Yeah. And I think that's what they've got to do. Yeah. Come out and play.
Well, if they don't get beat on Saturday, then everything will spin around again, Mick.
There's a mitigating factor for me, though, in the game on the Sunday that Arsenal play in the Champions League on Wednesday against Sporting.
I pick your point, Mick, about a 3-game week again. But if you spin it round, Man City are in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Arsenal are not. So Man City will have a 3-game week as well. So from now until the end of the season, you've got, if Arsenal win their game, obviously it's going to rebound again.
It's at home, which is a huge advantage, having to go and play away, of course.
But they're out of the FA Cup, so there's going to be a weekend where Man City are going to miss a game that they're going to have to fill in before the season ends. So they'll get caught with a 3-game week as well.
We're doing now what all the fans do. They're all going through, if they do this and we do that, and they've got this and they've got that. So, but that's what you do, isn't it? When you're in that position, you look. And by the way, you're looking to gain any advantage. They're playing on Wednesday, we're playing on Sunday, which is great, and that's why it's so great for football fans. I love it. It's making it really interesting.
It is.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout? I hear you ask. Well, with BOYLE Sports, if your team goes 2 goals up, you win. Job done. You're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this also means that we need to reconsider some crucial games across your careers, Mick and Tony. In fact, I'm going to take you back to the Etihad Stadium, Halloween 2009, the first time Mick McCarthy meets Tony Pulis in the Premier League. Stoke go 2-0 up, but Mick, your Wolves team come back, draw 2-2, and I'm sorry, Mick, I'm taking the point off you. Because of BOYLE Sports' new laws, I'm afraid Stoke won that game. Congratulations, Tony.
Thank you.
There you go. So get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they go on to win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only, applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
Right, next, I think we'll have to talk about the battle to stay in the Premier League. Wolves and Burnley are destined for the drop. Yep. With 6 matches left, Tottenham now find themselves in 18th spot. Roberto De Zerbi lost his first match in charge of Spurs, 1-0 away at Sunderland on Sunday. How do you think, Tone? It's looking really concerning for them. They didn't appear to be much sign of improvement. I watched the game.
Yeah.
We saw a couple of Spurs players in tears at Sunderland, while De Zerbi has already cited a mentality problem. Is this Spurs squad buckling under the pressure?
Well, the result was a poor result. Sunderland had really not a lot to play for, Mick. And then you're going up there and you think a new manager, a new bounce, you fancy them maybe to get a result. Not getting a result, is that good or bad? It certainly would have showed up certain things that De Zerbi's not seen because he hasn't seen them play before. So that gives him, he's now got an extra week to work with the players and get them as organised in a system that he wants. So I see them being better next week than what they were this week. There's definitely a mentality problem in that football club, without a question of a doubt. And as we've talked about before, the managers have changed, but the players have stayed the same.
Results have
stayed the same. So you're thinking all the managers they've had over about 5 years now, that club has got a problem. And I think I said it a long time ago, and I'll say it again. I think it needs really rooting out. I think there needs to be, at the end of the season, a big change. If he's been given the 5-year contract or whatever it is that he's been given, and he's allowed to do that, then there will be change, because I think he's a good manager. I think watching him work and listening to people who've worked with him, I'm very good friends with Adam Lallana, who lives around the corner from us, and he was very complimentary. He said he knows exactly what he wants, and if he doesn't get it, you won't be hanging around long. But
5-year contract, that's what he wanted.
Yeah, so he'll need that.
I thought he did well at that when he's coming in, and they are fourth bottom. And you said, talk about needy. I want a 5-year contract at Spurs. How many have lasted 5 years over the last?
Yeah.
Anyway, the game on Sunday.
I didn't see it. You've seen it, mate.
I saw it. So, and especially I'm watching it, and I've tipped Sunderland to win. I didn't think that the new manager bounce was going to work that much. And it's a tough. Sunderland been great this year. They're going up there, but it was a nothing game really. There wasn't one that was really dominating. Sunderland were probably slightly the better side. They're the home side. They've been flying. They've been doing really well. Confident at home. There's another one for manager of the season, by the way. Sunderland manager, and nothing really in it that I'm thinking at half time they must have felt the same. Spurs, that a draw would have been. They've not had many chances, not created much. But I bet they're thinking we'll get a draw out of this at least.
Yeah.
The defending for the goal that came, the fullbacks, I think I was saying to you before, the fullbacks got his player, the overlaps coming, the midfield player ran towards across him.
Yeah.
The cross, and then he stopped. The fullback comes on the inside, it's opened up, and you can hear the Sunderland fans going, they want a shot.
Yeah.
He comes in and shoots, I think with his left foot, which wasn't his best. And a deflection right over the goalkeeper. And it's one of those things when you're in Spurs position, you think it's just going to happen. You feel so devastated. They had a little rally towards the end. They had, a couple of corners and a couple of shots, and keeper made one save. Overall, I'd say
nothing special.
No, I'd say overall Sunderland just about deserved it. If it had been a 0-0 draw, you'd have said that was fair.
Yeah.
But they've lost, and they've lost another game. And now the manager's, he's 1 in, 1 defeat, 1 game, 1 defeat. They can't be any other club because the size of it, the ground, the money they've spent,
training
ground, all about it. The thought that they could be in the Championship next year.
I think the Lincoln supporters were saying on it. How funny was that, Mick?
Spurs versus Lincoln. I have to say, I looked at the league and I thought that's going to make a few people smile.
Well, you certainly are.
I'm not smiling about it. No, I'm far from it. I mean, do you know what does make me smile is there's nobody that can't go down.
Oh, there is.
No.
Outside the, I think
it can happen to any of them, though. Just think
bottom half of the league. Yeah, I don't honestly think you'd ever get a situation with the two Manchester clubs.
No,
two clubs, Everton.
Spurs shouldn't be there.
Yeah, no, I know, but this hasn't just been this year, Mick. Last year they were struggling.
They finished 17th.
Yeah, 17th. So this has been, as I've said before, this hasn't been just one isolated incident. This has been an accumulation over years and years and years. This club has dropped off. Bad recruitment, whatever happening behind the scenes, I don't know. But they've had good managers in there. They've had managers who then left Tottenham and gone on and won league titles. So they can't be that bad. It's the recruitment, it's the atmosphere, and it's the people who are making decisions behind the scene. They're the ones that people should be looking at.
We're not talking about the atmosphere from the fans because
they've
been amazing. I mean, they lined the streets there for one of the games, and they must be devastated. Well, I know they have, of course. I guess saying all that, do you have any concerns that De Zerbi had previously indicated he wanted to wait till the summer? He might. Listen, as a manager, I'll answer that question. You want to take that? He's just out of work. Was it Marseille? Did he lose his job?
3 or 4 months he's had.
And we talk about the stress levels at clubs, and you get released, you get the sack, and then going straight into another job. It's tough, and he's got those games to try and keep Tottenham up. If he ends up in the Championship.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll see that. I don't think he'll take that full responsibility for what's happened. As I've said to you now, again, this has been absolutely going on for years after year after year. They've been getting worse and worse and worse. If they get relegated, he'll take some responsibility, but he won't take full responsibility. Then he'll have a clean sheet to work again next year. And if they go down, they'll be odds-on favourites to come up with a team that will play in his style and his way without a question of a doubt. So I think he's put that. I think he's put that in the basket. I think picking that basket up, he's going, I've got this in there, or I've got that in there, and I'm going to have to deal with either or. And if I have to deal with it, I have to deal with it.
You know what it's like, don't you? Of course, we talked about it before. When you're in the Championship, the thought of it for Spurs and Spurs fans is awful. But you end up winning 30 games in the Championship if they get it right and they've got the right coach. They go up with 100 points, and it's a magnificent achievement. Better than finishing 17th in the Premier League.
I know what you're going to say, but Mick, he's been at Brighton, and he will know there's an enormous difference between the Championship and the Premier League. If they go down, and I'm still not certain they'll go down. If they go down, then he'll get them promoted. I'm absolutely convinced of that. But I think he's also sensible enough to know that if we do get promoted, I'm saying now to the owners, we need proper investment.
Yeah,
and that's what they'll do.
I just mentioned something though about the difference, and you've probably been in this situation. I certainly have. You're fourth bottom, and forever all you're doing, you're not all, but your concern is the one behind you, because only one can catch you. There's only West Ham that could have caught them. And all you're doing is, and players are doing it as well, fretting that you might get overtaken. Suddenly you go to third bottom, it creates more of a desire that, hold on a minute, we're in relegation here. Yeah. We can catch them. It's a bonkers mentality that suddenly you've got more of a positive mentality being in the bottom three because you're just looking upwards and you're trying to get and overtake the ones above you, than when you're fourth and fifth bottom and all you're doing is thinking, if we lose this and if they get a point here and they do this, they're going to overtake us. I wonder.
Yeah, if it changes.
And I have to mention, I support Leeds. We've just been talking about that, and I have a concern that not everybody, people are thinking the same. Daniel won't think that, but they're not that far out of it. Was it 2 or 3 points out of it? And it can change.
Well, if you look at it,
they're playing Manchester United tonight.
You got West Ham, you got Forest, you got Leeds, and Tottenham all fighting to stay away from that one spot. Obviously, we've got to mention West Ham. They've had an unbelievable result against Wolves. I actually watched that game, and I thought up until the first goal, I didn't think there was much in the game.
I agree.
And then they get West Ham score the goal. They've scored goals. 4 goals, unbelievable, but they get the first goal, and I thought Wolves dropped off like you couldn't believe it.
Well, so we're talking about how being at the bottom of the league and things can affect you, right? Yeah. Wolves are down there. They've drawn against Manchester United. They drew against Arsenal. They've had some really good results under Rob now, and the team look like they play. Then, of course, they're not playing the top of the league. They're playing fourth bottom, and probably think they can go there and win. And they did all right up until West Ham scored. Yeah. But didn't they capitulate after that?
It was, West Ham won't get another opportunity like that, I don't think. And that's taking nothing away from Wolves, the situation they're in, and obviously how Rob deals with it. But, there's a hell of a lot to play for down there. And I'm not giving it, everybody's going out, it's going to be Tottenham, it's going to be I'm not giving that one yet.
No, well, we've talked about them all, but we'll go back to Spurs because there's no winning 14 Premier League matches for Spurs. With De Zerbi's former club Brighton, the visitors this Saturday. What would you do? What would you do if you're in De Zerbi's shoes? You prepare that team to make sure they get a point.
He'll know, Mick, how difficult it is, and I'm sure he'll know how good Brighton are. Brighton have got some fantastic players. They've had another great season, and it is a really, really tough game for Tottenham. Really tough game, and their home form has been absolutely horrendous, shocking. So that's got to change, Mick, without a question. They got an eke out of result where they don't play very well. But things go for them, and one of those where you come off after the game and think, how did we do that?
Yeah, well, I hope the players that were crying on the weekend, I hope they weren't crocodile tears and they were sincere. And you know what? Now they've dropped into the bottom three.
They don't want to be crying now, Mick. It's not all over, is it?
Well, no. Well, it's about that result and where they've dropped to. But if that's the case and they've dropped into the bottom three, they're now the chasers. They're the ones who are hungry. They're the ones to get out of it. So
what you're saying, look at West Ham now and see how they react.
The ones above them, absolutely, yeah. If you suddenly go to fourth bottom and go, thank goodness for that, you might get a right slap the following week. So, and it's the mentality of the league.
Yeah.
Well, we're here now. So West Ham are at the relegation zone for the first time since November. Can you imagine the sigh of relief? Unbelievable. In fact, I think I heard the sigh of relief. I only live about 10 miles from the stadium. Anyway, but thanks to the 4-0 win over Wolves last Friday, how much credit does Nuno deserve for the turnaround so far?
He won't be wanting any credit at the moment.
No,
he won the credit at the end of the season when they stay up, if they stay up.
Yeah, well, I think that's like when I'm doing the commentator or the punditry here now on television. They ask the manager straight afterwards, and he gives you that. We should have given him, and I'd have given him. It's not about today. It's about the next game that's coming up, and it's about the following three. So we're going to do exactly what the managers would do, and not even talk about that one. Then West Ham. West Ham are no longer hunting. Like I said, they're looking over their shoulders.
Being chased.
It really is an unbelievable difference in mentality that I guess unless you've been there, and I know you've been there, I've been there, you can't express it. I think people would say, hold on a minute, you've got that. You must be feeling great about yourselves. You are on that shoulder, but on this shoulder it's going, don't go back in that bottom three. Don't go back in bottom three. It's wonderful you've got out of it, but there's still that nagging doubt.
Pressure.
And now we're going to talk about Nottingham Forest now because they're still fighting on two fronts, League and Europe.
I think, Mick, out of the bottom teams, I think Forest have got the best squad.
Well, they got a great draw against Aston Villa, 1-1.
I think they're the best squad. It'll be devastating for them if they get relegated because looking at all of the group, I think they're a big, strong, they got pace. Woods is back now, so they're better opportunities to score goals. I just think they've got the makeup of a team that if you want to have a battle up, they'll have a battle up. Yeah. But they've got good players as well, players who can play if they're given space. So I think they'll get out of it.
They've got Porto and then Burnley. You know, we've talked about this before. How would you prep for that week? They've got to go and try and beat Porto. They can't just give it up and say we want to stay in the Premier League because I think the fans will go mad. And of course, if you go and beat Porto, you've got Burnley coming. You'll be flying on the Saturday. But it does. It's a conundrum, that one though.
Yeah, takes it out of you, Mick.
It does.
I've been lucky enough to play in Europe and to get that game on a Thursday, and then you've got to prepare again for the Sunday. And I said to you that the majority of games we played, especially away from home. Not at home. We'd won a couple after playing on the Thursday night at home. Playing away from home and then coming back and having to play a Premier League game, is so difficult. It is, yeah. I actually thought that our players looked forward much more to Europe than they did the Premier. They'd been in the Premier League for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. They'd got used to playing the big clubs. Going abroad was brand new. All, great experience, new to them. They were on their front foot. They were buzzing. Coming back was almost like it's the Premier League again. Whereas the Premier League is everything.
Yeah, and if you're playing away on the Sunday, having played on Thursday night, you have to fly back. whenever you decide. Do we do it in the morning or do we go straight up after the game? If you fly back on the evening, do you sleep?
We did it every week.
I know.
And still couldn't win.
By the way, I've been there where you try and change, you keep trying to change. We'll do it this way. But that does make it tough if you're away from home, certainly. But they look like the ones that could get out of it, definitely.
Yeah,
Nottingham Forest.
I think.
And what concerns me, of course,
your team,
Leeds. We're recording before Leeds play away at Man United. I have a concern for them. The result, they've not been winning, but they've not been getting beat. I think Daniel Farke's done an amazing job. But it's just you're in that little spot where people start to think you're safe. I'm not saying Daniel does. I'm not saying the Leeds players do. They're all watching this scrap at the bottom here. Yeah. And then, West Ham win and Forest get a draw, and suddenly they're all creeping up behind you.
The one thing I'll say is to all the Leeds supporters who are listening to this programme now, just for Mick, make sure when you turn up at Ellen Road, you get behind your team because they'll need it.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I think that's a given there. They're brilliant. Manchester United, we'll see. I mean, that's always been a real spiky, spiteful game. So, and I have to be honest, if I was at Ellen Road, I'd be making it, or whatever.
Old Trafford.
Old Trafford, yeah. But sorry, if I was at Leeds, I'd be making it as spiteful as I possibly could be, because that's what you need when you're in those positions.
I thought you was going to say because that's what I am.
Oh, Tony, I mean, there was a little side of me when I played and when I managed when I was, but I'm definitely a much softer option now.
I'm not sure.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. And why is BOYLE Sports the home of the early payout, I hear you ask? Well, with BOYLE Sports, if the team you back goes 2 goals up, you win, job done, you're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this means we need to reconsider a crucial game in your career, Tony. I'm talking, of course, about the 1999 playoff final when your Gillingham team were 2 goals up with 5 minutes to play. Obviously, that means, in the eyes of BOYLE Sports, you have now won the Second Division playoff final, 1999. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And also, West Ham won the 2006 FA Cup final, which is great, and commiserations to Liverpool for not winning the 2005 Champions League. And obviously, now Gillingham have won the 1999 Second Division playoff final. Commiserations to Nicky Weaver and Manchester City. Yes, get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only. Applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus. T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BOYLE Sports, the home of the early payout. Head to boylesports.com or download the app to find out more.
It was another difficult weekend for Newcastle United and Eddie Howe. Having led Crystal Palace until the 80th minute, Newcastle lost 2-1 at Selhurst Park on Sunday. Eddie Howe says he was accountable for the defeat, but how much responsibility is on the players?
Well, I think what Eddie's done there, when you go right back from the start, when they were struggling at the bottom of the league, to present time now, and
winning the cup in between time.
They've won. They've been in the Champions League. Is it twice? They've won the League Cup or whatever they call it now. Still the League Cup to me, Mick. They've won that. They've had great seasons, fantastic seasons. They've gone and beaten all the top clubs and beaten them well as well. The atmosphere and the togetherness at that football club over the last 4 or 5 years has been exceptional. Eddie has brought everything together. They've had a bad run. We've had a question of a doubt. Yeah. He spent a lot of money. He has spent a lot of money there, and he's getting that thrown at him a little bit now. But they've had their first bad run. What they like up in the northeast, they're going to be the same as everyone else. Couple of bad defeats. Everybody's looking at you and everybody's pointing the finger at you. He's big enough, he's old enough. I had Eddie, as I've said before, as an apprentice when I was at Portsmouth. He's an absolute fantastic lad. Very level-headed, but he'll be feeling the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
He will be feeling the pressure. And especially, Newcastle, you've worked up there, I've worked up there. The supporters, they're so demanding. It's frightening. Which
makes the club brilliant, actually. As well.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
Let's not, let's not say anything bad about the fans at any of them, because it does make the club what it is. They are fantastic supporters.
Do I think they'll get rid of him? I hope they don't. I hope they show a little bit of loyalty towards him, and they give him this. It's a bad period in respect of what they've done before, in respect of what they've done and achieved before. But a little bit of loyalty back, Mick, wouldn't go amiss.
No, well, I agree with all you said about him, and he's a really nice fella. But he has done a remarkable job up there. But football
is football.
We heard that, we were discussing this before, weren't we? And somebody said, "Oh no, surely not." It's football. Who knows what their decision might be? I think sometimes the owners get a little bit fed up of. I
think there's always a group
and want to change something.
Yeah, there's always a group of supporters, Mick, who never mind what you give them, they always want more, and they're usually the ones who are loudest. Empty vessels make most noise, and you get this group in every football club I've been at. You've always got that group who are never, ever happy. Even when you might win 3-0, it should have been 5 or it should have been 6, or he should have played Johnny instead of Fred, all that stuff. There's always that group, and they do get out and they do shout louder than most. And I think the majority of the supporters up there, hopefully, understand that they are, having a bit of a bad time. But let's stick with him. He's done a fantastic job. The football that we've played and the results that we've got over a period of time, I think gives him a lot of grace.
We have to discuss a few managerial talking points before the end of the show. First of all, since we last recorded an episode, our good friend Roy Hodgson is back at it. Who'd have thought it? Having taken over Bristol City. 2 wins and a draw so far, which is brilliant. 1 goal conceded. He's definitely still got it. How much admiration do you have for Roy?
Unbelievable. I went.
And did you see it coming? Talking to him,
oh, did I, Al? Amazing. But the results: 2 wins and a draw is absolutely fantastic. He's made. What they had a good side. They were on a bad run. They've got a good side. I've watched them a few times. Full of energy, and most probably expectations again there is top 6. But he's gone in there. The 3 results have been fantastic. He'll most probably now stay next year.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I have to be honest, gave no indication that he was even thinking about it. Although when you listen to him talk, he's still enthused by it, by the game and by management and coaching and everything he's done. I have to say, it's not surprised me that the results have gone his way.
Yeah.
Because he would make it so organised. And I think if when you're having bad results, we both know the manager gets tense. You start getting tight, start picking fights with people if it's the wrong thing. I think Roy must have gone in with that calm, mature head of his and sorted things out. And I would imagine everybody would respond to him.
Yeah.
Because of the success he's had, they must all be loving it.
No, I think City might give him a director of football job next year and bring a young coach in and let Roy work with the younger coach, which makes sense to me.
Well, talking about that, going from an old head to a young head, Jack Wilshere claimed his first piece of silverware as a manager, the Papa John's Trophy, after Luton beat Stockport 3-1 at Wembley. What's that first success like for you? What was it like for you as a manager? Is it better than winning something as a player?
I think it is, because you're in total control of what's going on, Mick. I think as a player, you're part of a team and you're very selfish in lots of ways. You can play games and play really well.
We're part as a team, as a coaching team as well, but I know it's different.
You play games and you play really well and the team loses, but you'll be delighted at the way you played. As a manager, you can play well and lose and it affects you like you can't believe it. So I would say most probably my first promotion as a manager was at Gillingham. That was an unbelievable achievement for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. As a player, you come off, the team's lost, you come off, you're devastated. But you've had a good performance yourself. If you're a striker, you've lost 3-2 and he scored a couple of goals.
Yeah.
He's delighted with himself coming off. As a defender, a goal's gone in. I'm not absolving myself from any blame of it, but if you've had a good game and the one flew in the top corner, you can come away and think, I'll tell you what,
you can take something away from it.
And by the way, when you've had a howler as well, because that really does upset you. But yes, certainly as a manager, you get more
Satisfaction.
Is it satisfaction is the word, not pleasure. Not pleasure, because actually you're with the team, all your mates, there's a great deal of pleasure there. And you go away.
Because you're controlling everything,
absolutely.
Or you was.
Well,
you used to be. I'm not
well, I know. But going back to the
good
issue,
old days.
The question about the satisfaction, you've satisfied, the fans are satisfied, the board are satisfied, directors are, everybody in the club is. It's a great day for you all, and you know that you've done that because you're in charge with your coaching team, management team. But as a player, it's
more selfish.
Yes, without a doubt. Right, Tom, predictions for this week, and I'm going to go first this week. I've got Celtic to avenge the cup final defeat against St Mirren. This is a semi-final. Martin will want to have a cup. I mean, who knows what happened to the end of the season? Who knows what happened with the league? But he'll want to win this and he'll want to win the cup. So I'm taking Celtic to beat St Mirren. Ian Holloway, Swindon Town to beat Accrington. Accrington are in 16th spot. I don't think they can get it. Can't go up, can't go down. Swindon are still in promotion spots. They're still fighting for it. And I'm hoping they do for Ollie. So Swindon to beat Accrington. A little bit similar with Derby and Oxford, my next one. Derby to beat Oxford. Derby are in a chance they could nick in the playoffs. They've been doing well. I've seen a couple of performers actually playing well. Oxford actually having a right scrap of it as well.
Yeah,
both got things to play for, trying to get out of it. But Derby at home, I'm taking them to beat Oxford. And then, last by no means least, I've got Swansea playing Southampton. Southampton away at Swansea, which is going to be tough for them. But I've seen them a couple of times recently. They are flying. Beat Arsenal in the cup tie. They look like they're going to, a bit like Crystal Palace coming from the bottom that year. They did it in 2003, was it? Coming from the bottom of the league, look like they could get promoted. They look a really good team. So I'm taking them to beat Swansea at Swansea. And for all my four predictions, £10 returns £71.18p, including the Acca Boost from BOYLE Sports.
Right, mine. Here we go. I'm going West London Derby. I'm going Brentford to beat Fulham. Brentford have had a fantastic season. And there's a lot at stake in this game. Both teams will be up for it, but I've just got a feeling Brentford at home at that small ground, which is absolutely fantastic when it gets going, and they'll be right behind their team. So I'm going for a home win there, Brentford to beat Fulham. Then I'm going for Coventry at Blackburn. Coventry had the chance of getting over the line this week, has missed out on it. So they'll go up there. They'll desperately want to win that game. They concede lots of chances at times, Coventry, but they create lots of chances, and they've got a really good record of scoring goals. And I just think they'll have too much for Blackburn. The next one, I'm going for your club, Leeds to beat Wolves. I watched Wolves the other day, and like I said, they went a goal behind, and it looked as though, the season was just ebbing away. Leeds will need to win to make sure that they're, Premier League status. And I've got Leeds to win that one. And the last one, I've gone for Wrexham, hoping that maybe they don't win when they play Stoke. But I'm putting all the pressure on Wrexham. Mark Robins needs a result at Stoke. They've been okay this season. It's been a transition season. I'm sure they'll do 10 times better next year. I'm picking Wrexham, Mark, to put the cob washes on them. Hopefully you'll win that game. £10 returns, £104.70p, including the Acca Boost from BOYLE Sports.
I love that reverse psychology tone, and that's why I stayed away from Leeds and Wolves. Anyway, there's our predictions for this week. Don't forget, if you want to email us in with any thoughts or questions, you can get us via hello@themanagerspod.com. Tone, thanks. See you next week, pal.
Cheers, Mick.